So many people today, even with good intentions, they go into marriage thinking just in terms of this earth. Thinking, I want happiness right now. I love this man, I love this woman. I want to have a house, I maybe want to have a few children. And their focus is solely on the things of this earth. The fact that holy matrimony is a sacrament means it's not meant just for this earth. It's been given to us, instituted by Jesus Christ Himself for heaven. To get souls to heaven. That's why the sacrament of holy matrimony exists, and it's what it means to say that it's a sacrament. As a sacrament, marriage is in its essence, it's part of the new creation. I'm not talking any longer just about this world. It's part of the new creation which has resulted from the sacrifice of the cross and the resurrection. And marriage is a sacrament. It's an essential part of the new and supernatural life of grace, which begins in baptism. Real quickly, just a few practical applications. What does all this mean for Manuel and Margarita? More than anything else, it means always, every day, grow in your faith so that you will be able to appreciate that what's going on in your marriage is not just of this earth, but it's pointing you and helping you towards heaven. So always do your best to grow in your faith every day of your married lives, especially by praying and by studying your faith, by going to Holy Mass, going to confession, and doing your best to be faithful to the corporal and spiritual works of mercy. The only way that as a church we're going to be able to grasp more and more the wonder and the greatness of this holy sacrament of matrimony, very sacred, very holy, with its laws governed by God, is if we're growing on a daily basis in our faith so that we can see beyond what is just human, what is natural. Number 2, holy matrimony now constitutes both of you, Manuel and Margarita, in a new relationship to Christ and to the church. Matrimony is very similar. It's not at the same level, but it's similar to those sacraments that imprint a character. That's baptism, confirmation, and holy orders. Those sacraments, we might say, change one's soul. There is an indelible character imprinted upon one's soul through those sacraments. In matrimony, there's something similar where Manuel and Margarita are no longer in the same relationship with Christ and the church. And what this means is that by the grace of this sacrament, both of you are now going to reproduce Christ's union with His church. Whatever you do from now on, insofar as it pertains to the matrimonial state, the husband does so in the name of Christ and in His place. And whatever Margarita does, insofar as it pertains to the matrimonial state, she does it in the name of the church and in the place of the church. Never forget the significance of this. You're now in a new relationship with Jesus and the church. It means that for Manuel as a husband and hopefully as a future father, what he does, insofar as it has to do with matrimony, he's not just doing it in his own name. He's doing it in the name of Christ and in the place of Christ. And Margarita, whatever she does insofar as it has to do with the sacrament of matrimony, she's not just doing it as Margarita. She's doing it in the name of Holy Mother Church and in the place of the church. And so, for example, Manuel, now you are in a new relationship with Christ and the church. Now what you have to tell yourself, it's true, I am now a Catholic husband. I must die to myself. And I must imitate Christ so that my wife, and hopefully future children, may have life. You're acting in the person and in the place of our Lord Jesus Christ there in your home. That's why you have to die to yourself. That's what Jesus did. That's why you have to learn to imitate Him. You have to learn to die to yourself so that the domestic church, your wife, and hopefully your future children, so that they will have life. If you do not die to yourself, it's going to be very difficult for there to be true and abundant life for your wife and hopefully for your future children. And for Margarita, an example, for you to now say, I am now a Catholic wife. I must die to myself and be obedient to my husband. Never forget this because it applies to everything. All the decisions, for example, that Manuel, you now as a husband, hopefully future father, all the decisions that you make for the welfare of your family, decisions that you're making insofar as your husband and head of your home, do your best to do them in a spirit of dying to yourself, in the spirit of fighting against selfishness. Because you do those things in the name of Christ and in the place of Christ. When you lead your family, for example, in prayer, it's not just you. Absolutely essential for the Catholic husband and father to lead his family in prayer because he's taking the place of Christ, and this is being done in the name of Christ. Christ is present there in the Catholic home. Not just a fluffy kind of spiritual way. Christ is there in the Catholic home, and he's leading those souls to his Father in heaven, most especially through the actions and through the life of the husband and the father. This is what it means to say that holy matrimony now puts them in a new relationship with Christ and the church. Anybody else who comes into Manuel's home, in this future home, and prays, wonderful that he's praying. It's never the same as when he is praying and leading his wife and his children in prayer because he's doing it in the name of Christ. He's taking the place of Jesus Christ, and the sacrament of holy matrimony is giving him that grace. It's giving him that power. And Margarita, when you care for your home, in caring for your home, in creating an environment in your home where the faith is going to grow, you're doing it in the name of the church and in the place of the church. Just like Holy Mother Church. Everything that Holy Mother Church does so that we can grow in our faith, all the symbols, and you see, we take care here in our parish church to try and fix things up beautifully for sacred worship. All the fixings and everything that's being done to make the church beautiful, to help her children grow in faith. That's what Holy Mother Church is doing. That's what the Catholic wife is doing in her home. When she's putting up, we might say, holy pictures. And creating really a home where there's faith. She's creating an environment, and she's taking the place of Holy Mother Church and doing that in the place of Holy Mother Church so that in that home, it will really be a domestic church where the faith will be growing every single day. Obviously, both of you, in order to be able to carry this out faithfully, your new relationship to Christ and the church, you have to die to yourself. Every day you must fight against selfishness, against anger, and against pride. That's why it's so important to pray, to fast, and to seek the counsel of the church, so that in fact you can die to yourself on a daily basis. Selfishness is the great poison to the sacrament of holy matrimony. Because when one is selfish, one is no longer acting in the name of Christ or for the wife in the name of the church. One's acting in one's own name and doing one's own show. It's so sad because all the problems and all the sin that exists because of failures in the sacrament of holy matrimony is because husband and wife are doing their own thing. They're living their life and living their marriage according to their own will, their own passions, the ways of the world, and have forgotten the grace that they've been given to husband to act in the name of Christ in the place of Christ, wife to act in the name of the church, Holy Mother Church, in the place of Holy Mother Church. And finally, one example of how you will do this is particularly in begetting new offspring for the kingdom of heaven. Think about this. Now you have a very special vocation that if it's God's will, you will now beget new offspring for the kingdom of heaven. Not just for the earth, and definitely not primarily for the earth, but so that those souls will one day make it to heaven. The wife now acts in the name of the church and in her place, especially in giving life. Think about what the womb of the church is. Maybe you've never really heard that terminology, but in our Catholic faith and tradition, it's there. where the great saints and fathers of the church talk about how the womb of the church is the baptismal font. That's where the children of wrath that are born, that's where they're reborn to become children of God. The baptismal font is the womb of Holy Mother Church where new life is begotten. What do you think the Catholic woman and the Catholic wife and the Catholic mother is doing? When she gives life and when God chooses to bless her womb with new life, she's acting in the name of Holy Mother Church and in the place of the church. Never forget, Margarita, very much tied to giving life in your fertility, that you must reproduce the holiness and loveliness of the church in your body, in your home, in the lives of hopefully your future children, so the new souls will be able to make it to heaven. The most important and most privileged, most sacred way in which both of you from now on will act in the name of Christ and in the name of the church is in begetting new offspring for the kingdom of heaven. And this is something that has to begin today, because everything that you do, all your virtues, all your weaknesses are going to be magnified in future children. Very important that from this very day you start preparing. How are we going to be able to ensure that that new offspring makes it to heaven? And so just some very practical things already beginning this day. Make your home a holy place. Get rid of televisions. Get rid of mundane things. Put up holy pictures in your home. Have holy water available. Have holy books there available to read. So that already now preparations are being made for that new life to be able to make it to heaven. It's not easy to get to heaven. Those of us that are here at this parish hopefully are beginning to learn this and really take it to heart that it's a great, great challenge to get to heaven. We have to work hard every day. And secondly, very practically, already beginning this day, make a special effort to grow in virtue and to get rid of your faults. To grow in virtue and to get rid of your faults. And know that you have special grace now to be able to do this. You have a new relationship to Christ and to the church. Grow in virtue and get rid of your faults, because these are going to be magnified in your children. If you have a lot of virtue, that virtue is going to grow even stronger in the lives of your offspring. If you have a lot of faults, this is also for everybody that's here. If you have a lot of faults, those are going to be magnified in your offspring. Out of love for God's law and also out of love for your future offspring, to help them to get to heaven more easily and more faithfully. Every day you have to grow in virtue. Work to grow in virtue and work to get rid of your faults. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.